Office, your favorite Commanders YouTube show, unless your name is Brian Robinson, but we'll get to that in a second. If this is your first time watching, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at the Denton Day. It's been a quiet week outside of the schedule release stuff for Washington, but Brian Robinson was very kind to give us a story to talk about on Sunday that's not examining the ins and outs of Washington's schedule that everyone has already done for the past couple of days. He tweeted over the course of the weekend, he said this. He said, keep that same energy. I am very much a fan of Brian Robinson, but I have very much been critical of what 2024 was for Brian Robinson. So whether he actually knows that I exist or not is one thing, but this was a subtweet to me. This was him saying, hey, people like you, Denton, need to keep that energy if I go and ball out in 2025. And I'll be the first one to tell you, if you go and ball out in 2025, I'll keep that energy. But I'm confused as to why this tweet exists and why this tweet happened now. I don't know, unless I missed something, if there was anything said this week in the massive, larger media landscape that would have triggered Brian Robinson to make a tweet like this. Now, I should preface, like, I don't know what he receives on a daily basis, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Like, I'm not checking his mentions. I'm not going through his DMs. I don't know any of that stuff. But I also am confused with this because, like, a lot of the criticism around Brian Robinson for 2024 to me feels justified. I don't think any of it's personal. And in fact, I think a lot of us actually like Brian Robinson and really respect the story, but no one's coming after his head the way that sometimes when you see tweets like this, it feels like that's what guys are saying. Now, again, like, I don't know what people are DMing him. Like, there are some weirdos, even in our fan base, there are some weirdos that be DMing dudes a bunch of odd things. Maybe that's what happened here. But everything that's been in terms of what happened in 2024, everything that's been said about him this offseason, I feel like is justified. The timing of this tweet is very odd as well, because I would have thought that this would have been tweeted, when the rumor cycle kind of began that Brian Robinson is not going to be Washington's running back one all the way back in like February, March, or whenever we got news. I think it was JP Finley that tweeted that first, and then all of us kind of ran with it. Maybe it would have happened like around the draft. Now they drafted a running back, but like drafting a running back in the seventh round is not the guy that's going to unseat your starting running back one, unless Ja'Cory Crooksy Merritt ends up being like the best seventh round draft pick in NFL history. Maybe I guess Brock Purdy got a lot of money this week, but unless this dude ends up being like a Hall of Famer, he's not going to unseat Brian Robinson. I always feel weird about tweets like this and about comments like this. I don't know how to handle it from the opposite side, right? Like, I get what he's saying. He's saying if I ball out, you got to keep that same energy. But isn't that like, don't you not want that to happen? Like, I'm not like the biggest pom pom, waiver in the world. But if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. We'll move on. So, like, if I said I don't think Brian Robinson is going to be running back one in 2025, then he goes for 1,200 yards in 2025. Hey, left hand up. This is my right hand, but left hand up. That's on me. If you're going to tweet something like this, you have to go ball out. Like, those are the rules of engagement with something like this. If you're going to tweet something like this, you have to ball out in 2025. And the reason that these conversations even exist is because 2024 should have been your Alfred Morris year. Like, if you're going to put Alfred Morris and Brian Robinson side by side, and this is with all due respect to Alfred Morris, that baseball thing was like the best celebration ever. Because when I was in high school, we were doing that stuff in the hallways at Freedom High School, right? But if you put those two guys side by side, you are not going to blink an eye as to who you're going to take as your running back one. You're going to take Brian Robinson. He has every physical attribute that you want in a running back. He's strong, he's powerful. The thing is, in 2024, he was not running into the holes that they needed him to run to. And, sometimes you can blame it on like the offensive line, right? And I get that. Like, I don't know the absolute ins and outs of the offensive line the way that maybe some do, the way that certainly guys on the team do. But it was getting very frustrating for me as a fan, for you as a fan, when on a continual week in, week out basis, there were multiple plays where he runs to the right and the hole is like one gap to the outside, but he goes right into where it's not. And you see it on instant replay, and you're like, if you just shifted like 2 feet to your right, you're getting maybe not a home run, but you're getting 5 or 6 yards instead of the two. And then seeing that on a consistent basis, Brian Robinson not going over 1,000 yards when Jay Daniels was his quarterback is very hard to wrap your mind around. because Alfred Morris went for like 1,200 when Robert was the quarterback. And I know that offense was way more focal on the RPO action, but like it should have been very easy, all things considered, to go for 1,000 yards with Jaden Daniels, who is, for my money, as a rookie, the best dual threat ever, like ever in the NFL, because he could make all of the NFL throws and he could actually run. If you don't know the history of dual threat quarterbacks is usually what you call a guy coming out of high school that you want to play in college that cannot throw very well, but he's very, very fast. Jane Daniels broke the mold of what we have been describing as dual threat quarterbacks for years because he could legitimately do both. And that should make your life a lot easier as Brian Robinson. And for whatever the reason was, it did not. So if he takes 2025 by the collar, smacks it around a little bit and decides that he's going to be a Pro Bowler, if we care about Pro Bowlers anymore, or an All Pro or something of that nature, like the energy that we've used to criticize him will absolutely be flipped to praise him. And he will deserve every bit of that flip to praise him. But you have to actually go out there and do it. And you can't just be sitting around tweeting these things because you know who also like tweeted some of that stuff this offseason? De'Ami Brown. Where is he? Not here. Dante Fowler did that too right before free agency. Where is he? Not here. Because those guys, they were not a part of the future of this organization. Brian Robinson, as of right now, is. So if he's going to tweet some stuff like this, keep that energy, go out there and ball out. Because if not, you're just going to kind of fade into the realm of obscurity with the franchise. They got Deebo Samuel, who is going to get a lot of carries. I don't know that he's going to get like a 250, hopefully not 250, but I have a pretty good idea that Deebo Samuel might be getting north of 100, close to 150 carries, which is going to stop a lot of the carries that Brian Robinson was getting should both guys stay healthy. So like, you got to go out there and earn the respect that you are demanding on social media. And if you do, you will get it. Like, I do feel like this is a fan base that at least most of us are going to treat the guys fairly because we have sat through some really, really bad years. So if you go out there and you ball out, we will give you the respect that you think you deserve or you are tweeting about deserving, but you have to go out there and actually do it. So I like that he seems to be locked in, but Twitter is not real life. I want to see it on the field. And if you go and ball out, give me 1,000 yards, give us 1,000 yards. If Brian Robinson has 1,000 yards in 2025, I think Washington's going to be in a really, really good spot. So I'm pulling for him to do the things that he wants to do, but he has to actually go out there and do it. What did you think of this tweet from Brian Robinson? You can comment down below. You can hit me up on Twitter at the Denton Day. I appreciate you coming into my office on a Sunday. Now, respectfully, get out.